I house sat for my boyfriend who had two Alaskan timber wolves, but when one wolf died and I crawled into the underground den to check on the other, I realized my bravery might have cost me my life. I was dating a guy who asked me to house sit when he went out of town, and to feed his animals while he was gone. He had a cat, a moody little devil who would hide and rather viciously attack your feet as you walked by his hiding spot. He also had two Alaskan timber wolves. These were not dogs or dog-wolf hybrids. They were actual wolves he had purchased from a wolf breeder in Alaska. I was young and dumb and thought I was in love, so I agreed to house sit and take care of the animals while he went to Bike Week in Daytona, Florida. The wolves were housed in a 20-foot-tall chain link enclosure in his backyard, and he had built a special underground den for them using cinder blocks for the actual underground structure with a concrete pipe angled for the wolves to enter and exit. The den was cooled with a window unit air conditioner, because this was located in southern Alabama where it gets very warm during the summer. One afternoon, I go out to feed them, and the male is laying in the enclosure on his side and not moving. In a panic, I run into the enclosure and find that the poor guy is dead. I call my boyfriend to deliver the horrifying news, and he says the male probably had a seizure. He apparently had a history of seizures. The boyfriend asks how the female is doing and I realize I don't see her. He says she must be in the den and that she'll come out eventually. I tell the boyfriend how sorry I am, and he says it's not my fault. That doesn't make me feel any better. I put the food dish in the enclosure for the female and leave, heartbroken that such a beautiful animal has died under my care. The next morning I enter the enclosure to grab the food dish only to find the food from yesterday is still there untouched, and the female is still nowhere to be seen. I call the boyfriend again, and he says to add a special supplement to a fresh bowl of food and to make sure the female eats it. I prepare a fresh bowl of food and add something really smelly from a tube of supplement. I return to the enclosure and call the female from her den. No response. I timidly approach the den entrance and call to her. No response. I push the food bowl into the den entrance. No response. I fear that the female is ill or dead. Without thinking, I crawl into the pipe tunnel, head first with the food dish in front of me. I am met with a deliberate, very low growl. As my eyes adjust to the limited light from the tunnel entrance, I see that I am at the end of the pipe, eye level and about 3 feet away from a female Alaskan timber wolf with her teeth bared. At first, I'm flooded with relief that she is alive and appears healthy. Suddenly, my brain starts rattling off facts. You are in an underground wolf den with a wild animal, alone. No one knows you're here because you didn't call anyone to tell them what you're doing. Boyfriend won't be back for 3 days and there will be nothing left of you by that time. I immediately focus on the food dish, which I gently push in her direction. I speak to her in a calm tone telling her I've brought her food and that I'm leaving, while never taking my eyes off the food dish. I slowly push backward up and out of the tunnel, and then I am above ground and on my feet backing slowly to the enclosure entrance. I leave and lock the gate behind me. I get to the back door of the house and realize my hands are shaking too much to grip the doorknob. I finally get inside and grab a plastic glass which I promptly fill with a double shot of Jim Beam. There's more to this story, but that was the most insane thing I've ever done part. And that's also when I learned that, yeah, you can have balls, but sometimes they're at the expense of your brain.